Good morning. We are under the gun with Jack 10 offsuit. This is a 50 NL game. It's a full ring, but we only have six-handed, or we only have six players in here. Under the gun, just chose to fold this. We can take a quick peek under the gun range. You can see 10 Jack off. It really isn't there. I know a lot of people will play that, and maybe in 6 max that could be a playable hand. But that's not what I'm going to play. So I folds around to the small blind who limps and the big blind checks. So I thought about not doing this hand since it's just blind versus blind, but then I thought, I do see this situation a lot, especially when I'm in the big blind. Folds around, small blind limps, just completes, and then it's on me. I know I have a raising range. We go to big blind versus small blind raising range. You're looking at something like this where you're basically always raising something. You can take that apart. You're always going to 3-bet a raise. You're going to 3-bet call all of the grain. You can see how wide we are. And then when you look at blinds, okay, limp, you've got a range that looks something like that. But the blinds always ISO raise. You've got, decent hands that you could raise with. All kinds of hands. I probably don't raise enough, but I think this situation comes up enough, sufficient number of times that we have to review it. So this guy is playing 26-3. He definitely is passive player, does not really raise, and that means I don't think he's going to have a very wide raising range. I think there's going to be a lot of those stronger hands that are in his limping range here, instead of hands that he should call. So right now VPIP is 27%, preflop raise is 7%. That's all in the small blind. That's 31 hands. When we look at small blind here, we've got a limp with previous limpers 18%, 2 out of 11. And then we also have the limp first in stat, which is 0. This is the first time. So overall, he's going to play. Doesn't seem like he's going to be raising. And I'm going to go off of this overall number, a 3% preflop raise. And I gave him a range that looks something like that. Started off with about 50% or so and started picking off hands that I think he would raise. I do think maybe jacks plus ace king and ace queen suited. It's probably a tight enough raising range for him. I made sure to give him all of the offsuit aces, suited kings, and so forth. So really it was the offsuit aces. I think that just seems to be a common thread that people like to play a hand with an ace. Big blind, I think is a bit more aggressive. So we do have some notes on him, but since it's not a raised pot, it's kind of hard to judge. He's played 31 hands, or 31% in the big blind, 5 out of 16. His 3-bet 0, preflop raise is 0. Call 2-bet 56%. I do think this guy would be a little bit more aggressive, so I widened up his raising range. I think I'm going to give him ace queen offsuit too, and just say, yeah, I think he's going to raise this, and then all the other hands, he's just going to see him. So it really comes down to what range do I think he's going to raise, and then all the other hands, he's just going to call, or just going to check behind. All right, so we see a flop of 9-6-3 with 2 hearts. Villain 4 checks, this guy bets. So nobody's the aggressor. Kind of thought the question is would this guy lead? And that's what we kind of have to look at. What does he bet the flop at? 5 out of 74. Is that a C bet? Doesn't look like it, because the C bet I have 1 out of 2 and then 1 out of 5. Hasn't really donked, so the bet looks more like he's betting in position. So somebody, everyone checks to him. Maybe it's in a limped pot. Everyone checks to him, and he decides to bet. So I'm not sure if he's gonna actually bet any of his cards here. Lead. He might just check to see what happens, what develops. This guy bets one. He bets half pot. So now we're in position. The question is, what is he gonna bet? I think at least the top pair he's gonna bet, two pair. We'll give him the draws. I mean, there's really no reason for him to go crazy. It is a limped pot. So we're just gonna basically give him like pretty good hands. Do I think we're gonna give him all top pair? Question is, it's like the 9-2 hands. Do I think he's gonna be betting the 9-2, 9-4, 9-5? Yeah, probably top pair. And I think all the rest is just going to be a check. So we're going to go 21.9%, which really kind of narrows his range down a bit. This villain calls. I think at this point, we're going to give him all of like the draws too. We're going to give him the gut shots. I think we've got a lot of overcards. I think a lot of players will call those overcards to see what comes on the turn and then probably fold to another bet. I mean, the board's kind of dry. It's a bit uncoordinated. Yeah, there's two hearts, and yeah, you have possibility of some straights. 7-8 gives you the open ender. 4-5 gives you an open ender. But overall, it's kind of a scattered board. It's going to be hard for two pair. However, big blind does have basically his entire range. So two pair is out there, trips is out there, and so forth. So we're going to make sure we have basically any pair. No, two. I don't think we're gonna do threes either. Yeah, we'll do fours and fives because he might be able to pick up a draw. So we'll go with that range. 7 hearts comes out. So I think at this point, I don't think the overcards are going to be calling unless they have a heart. So villain checks and he checks behind. So at this point, I don't think this guy tells us anything. I think this guy kind of tells us quite a bit. I think the flush would have bet. And I kind of think the straight's going to bet here. The set, we're going to scale back to just say 50%. And I think two pair. Nah, I think two pairs are going to be a check as well. So we're going to X the flush and the straight. I think we're going to leave, top pair, middle pair. What else is he going to be betting? Probably nothing else. I think that was just going to be his bet. I mean, it is a 50 NL game. Players tend to be a little bit better. And I think I think the ace X. I mean, he bets and you get a call. He's saying he's got something. He's got a draw. He's got a pair. He's got maybe over backdoor draw. And the backdoor could include like ace of hearts, king of hearts. That would allow him to call now. So went check, check. Ace of diamonds comes out. That's going to hit. That could hit villain 4. Villain 4 checks. And I think villain 4 check is telling. So I don't think he has a flush. Probably doesn't have a straight. I think straight's going to go for a little bit of value. I think sets and two pair might also go for value. I think top pair is probably just going to be a check. So I think villain's looking something like that. And same thing, I think at this point, he's probably going to bet the set, the second villain. He's probably going to go for two pair. So we're doing like middle pair, weak pair. And that could be like all over here. But I think that's where we're going to go. Neither opponents are going to be super strong. So we got a 5-6 here. A weak pair 5-6, so he had open ender. So we got that one. And then this guy had 3-2. So at this point, I didn't have it. Um, didn't have him in his range because I kind of didn't put him on betting. So if he does all of those, he may be doing the gut shot as well. Oh, and the 2 card backdoor flush draw, maybe? Do that, and then 7 of hearts comes out, and then he checks. Yeah, I don't think sets, based on what he bet, I don't think they're going to be, I bet they're going to go for those, and I bet he's going to go for a flush draw as well. Um, I think definitely the nut flush draw he's going to be betting. Probably the second nut flush draw he's going to bet. Probably not the third. Um, I think open ender's probably going to still stay there, and then ace of diamonds comes up, and you're left with, yeah, you've got 2-3 at that point. So it's just a matter of what do we think he's going to bet with. We kind of assumed he was going to be a little bit tighter since it was blind versus blind, but he did. He took initiative with bottom pair, and then froze up. And it was going to be a fairly weak hand. Stronger hands are gonna follow it up with a bet on the turn, or a bet on the river. But a check is just overall weakness. And I think a turn on the check you can kind of attack, and I think this guy could have attacked once a turn goes check. I don't think he's getting him to fold. I'm sorry, getting him to call, which then calls into the question: should we even bet in the first place? Or do we check with our 6-5 and hopefully have a little bit of showdown value on there? So can't really complain too much. Don't like this guy's limp. But it is what it is. I know that there are some strategies where in the blind versus, in a small blind, you're gonna limp quite a bit. Especially if you think you're a better player. And this guy's not too good post flop. Then yeah, see as many hands as you can. So I think it works. I don't mind his check on the flop, and I don't probably wouldn't even mind his check call on the turn either. I think leading the turn would have been a bit suspicious, and I think it would have given 3-2 a chance to fold. So yeah, not bad. Nothing too crazy here. Just working through our hand. So if you like this, look tomorrow for another.